And we are live for this episode. And on this episode, we have a returning guest with us, Ximena Barreto, known as the Republican Chick. We had her on a little over a year ago, and we'll have her back on tonight to talk about her experience at the NRA annual meetings recently and her involvement with other groups as well, like Women for Trump and Bienvenido. So stick around on this episode of Trend Chat, and like I said, we're live. Pretty rare time, so enjoy it while you can.
From the highways of America, here's the podcast where we talk politics, a little entertainment, some culture, and this and that, from the road to your ears. This is Trend Chat with your host, Brian Bledsoe.
And from the illustrious studios here in Arlington, Texas, that's right, I am actually home for this episode. This is Trend Chat. I am your host, Brian Bledsoe. And if you want to connect with us, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or Snapchat. It's all the same name, at Trend Chat 24/7. So, yes, I am actually home for an episode, which is so rare. Normally, I'm always somewhere else, especially when I'm doing the podcast. But like I said, tonight we are here in Arlington, and actually, as I mentioned in the beginning, we're doing this live for a number of reasons. I mean, it's best to try to do live episodes because I guess if you want to interact with the audience, you can. I guess I could say the chat room is open. If someone wants to go in there, hey, knock yourself out. We'll check it, I guess. But to be honest, we're doing a live episode for one because it's so late and didn't feel like recording and then having to go back to upload it and all that. And so I feel like I have the bandwidth tonight because normally a lot of times, I guess to kind of go a little behind the scenes, is a lot of times why I don't do live episodes is because, well, one, to kind of cover myself in case I make mistakes, kind of like when I do the beginning, the little intro. I normally probably do it maybe 3 or 4 times because I just don't like what I'm saying. Because to be honest, I didn't like what I just said just then. But hey, it's live, so got to go with it. And I don't want to just stop, and start over. And that just causes a lot of chaos as far as, especially when you're doing live episodes, as far as how it gets sent out. And so I don't want, if I do that, then and if I stop and then do it again, it makes it seem like I'm sending out multiple. Anyway, that's too much in the weeds. But anyway, so another reason why we don't do the live episodes is because sometimes it depends on where I'm at. And if I don't have like a strong cell signal, and try to do it live, I think it like buffers or something. I don't know how it sounds on your end. I just know what it looks like on my end. It says buffering. And so I don't know how that sounds on the other end. So I try to avoid that by just recording. So anyway, we're just doing a live episode right now. And hey, I guess it's practice for, I guess if I ever do it like a real live show day in and day out. I don't know, but it's not like it's nerve wracking to do it live because it doesn't matter to me, but just try to cover myself sometimes, and so I'll try to record it. But that being said, another reason, like I said, we're here in Arlington. We're home in Arlington, Texas, and one reason why it's so late to do this podcast is because I was fulfilling my duties as a precinct chair in the Tarrant County Republican Party. And so tonight was our executive committee meeting. So had to, take part in that and be there for the meeting. And if anyone who has been in Republican Party, just party politics, basically, and you're part of these meetings, and it's a lot of procedures and resolutions and appointments to committees and so on and so forth. And it can be very tedious. It can really be nerve-wracking, again, using that term again. But I guess for me, I think I mentioned this before, as someone that grew up in church and was a part of, I guess, the church meetings as far as business meetings at my church growing up. And I was in those meetings where we use Robert's rules of and being a 8-year-old, 10-year-old, 12, all during my years growing up, and being in those meetings that started at 8 o'clock in the morning and then into maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So I've been a part of that growing up. So what I see at the meetings, whether it's at the local level or county level or the state level or the national level, it's funny for me because it's not really funny. It ain't ha funny, but when I'm seeing how long all of this takes, and I notice a lot of people around me tend to get annoyed and wondering why this is taking so long. Like, oh, why this guy's getting up? Why they talking about this? Why they talking about that? And it goes on and on and on, and it just really tire a lot of people out. Meanwhile, for me, like I said, I was part of meetings back in the, back at my church that went on for 4, 5, 6 hours. So to have a meeting like tonight, this meeting started at 6 and ended at right around 9, so about 3 hours. So that's a short day compared to what I'm used to as far as when I was growing up at church. And mind you, not to get too much about my church, but back then, I think we had like maybe 10 members in our church, 10 members in our church. And we would have a business meeting that would last, like I said, was maybe start at 8 o'clock and go into the afternoon. So I was just imagining, cause that's the thought I had in my head, is how these procedures go. So I'm thinking when I would get in a room full of over 200 people or 100 people, or like on a state level, 1,000 people, I was thinking this is going to last all night, maybe into the next day. Cause that was the thought in my mind. I was thinking that's how it normally goes when you're doing all these procedures in these meetings. But anyway, that's, I don't know how many of you are listening have even been part of a committee meeting that has those type of rules. But anyway, that's the other reason. That's the main reason why we're here in Arlington. So, but as I mentioned in the intro, I'm pretty sure you can't wait for me to get to my guest. Like I said, she's a returning guest, and we're gonna play that. And actually, it's a 2-parter in a way. Well, it is, because we talked with her last week about the meetings, and as soon as we got off the phone, I think probably either the day after we got off the phone and found out that she was going to DC to be with Bienvenido, where they were having an event in Washington DC, and she was going to be a part of that, and they were going to the White House for a White House briefing and other events. So we kind contacted her again and said, hey, could we record another part to put at the end to talk about that. So we did that as well. So we'll play both of those parts on this episode. Now, also want to say, given that, just to say, Mother's Day is coming up. And, everyone, I'm pretty sure, should try to get a nice gift for the mothers. Do something nice. Go to dinner or something. And I guess it'll be a good time to kind of mention, because wanting to, I want to really thank each and every one of you who are listening, and who have been maybe reading on social media or wherever. Just want to say how much I appreciate everyone that have went out and to buy, whether it's shirts or hats or whatever. I don't know what you bought, but I know that you are going to these sites, to odgapparel.com or 1776united.com or col1972.com, and you're going there and actually buying stuff using our codes from this podcast. And I just can't say how much I appreciate that. And I'm just when they tell me that, hey, people are using your code and people are buying stuff, and what I normally say is, hey, I'm just glad I can help, because I really enjoy these products anyway, and I wanted to talk about them and give people a discount if they want to go there. So I guess this kind of is turning into a big ad, which is kind of true, I guess, in a way. So, and also in kind of connecting with Mother's Day, because all of these could be used for Mother's Day in one way or another. Because, I can guess in, let's say, like odgapparel.com. So they have all sorts of stylish Christian shirts, but they're not just shirts. They have hats. They have mugs. So if you want to get a mug for your mother, or a number of other accessories on odgapparel.com. And so if you go to odgapparel.com and put in the code TrendChat10, you get 10% off of whatever you get. And so with that, you can go there, or you can go to col1972.com. That's Culture of Life. And so you can find shirts and find bags, especially for mom, and you can find a number of different accessories there. And Culture of Life, they're looking to promote life, the culture of life, the hashtag Life Tribe, through fashion. And so if you go to col1972.com and put in the code TrendChat, you can get 10% off there as well. And then, 1776united.com, same. They have stylish patriotic gear, and that promotes freedom and promotes liberty. And they have some of my favorite shirts as well. They have, the Don't Tread on Me shirts. And so, like, they have women's shirts, just trying to stick on as far as if you looking to get some for mom. So, and they also have, they don't call them mugs. It's like, cause it's more than a mug, really. It's kind of like what they call like a tankard. I don't know if I might be saying that right, but they have these great, I would just call them mugs, but like I said, I know they call them something else, but the detail that they put into each one of these is just amazing. So, but you can check it out on 1776united.com. And there, if you put in the code Now, if you want to put in the code for this one, you got to really listen. So 76 militia dash trend chat. That is the whole code. 76 militia dash trend chat. That's the code. So if you put in that code, you get 20% off your first purchase. So, I didn't expect that to turn into an ad, but I'm glad I got all that out because I really appreciate all of them and for supporting us. And I appreciate every one of you who are listening that are going to these sites and buying stuff. And I hope you enjoy it. As a matter of fact, I would encourage you to message me, whether on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, at TrendChat 24/7. Let me know what you think about the products. I would love to know. I enjoy them. I have all of them. I have the Stop Being Dead hat from odgapparel.com, and amongst other things, other shirts and hats. And it's not like I'm putting this out for you, just for you, and I don't have any of the other products myself. It's funny because that's how I even got to the point of where I am telling you about them and having these codes, is because I was wearing them and I was doing a podcast and I asked, hey, would you mind partnering up as far as, cause I like the hats. I like the stuff I'm getting from you. So that's how it all happened. Anyway, I'm really going too far into that, but yeah, I really appreciate everyone, going out and supporting them. So let's get into the interview. Let's get there. I'm pretty sure you're probably like, okay, Brian. So, all right. So after a word from our friends with, the Founding Project, we'll be setting up our interview with the Republican chick.
Hello, Trend Chat listeners. If you like the Founding Project's Civics Education video series, Civics for All Ages, and our educational meme series, we think you will love our new website. Join us at thefoundingproject.com and be a part of the civics movement. The Founding Project is a 501c3 education nonprofit. Please join us today.
Commentary as subtle as a sledgehammer. This is Trend Chat.
All right. So this is not going to be much of an intro because I've already given the intro a couple of times already. So we're just going to head straight into it. So without further ado, here is our interview. First part with Ximena.
Trend Chat, and we are very pleased to have a returning guest to Trend Chat, Ximena Barreto. Now, did I say your name correctly? I know it's been a while since I actually said it all.
Ximena, yeah.
So, I do this all the time because I just want to make sure I send people's names correctly. So, now, like I said, you have been on before and wanted to bring you back on now because found out that you were at the NRA annual meetings. So, and we also found out it was your first time. So, well, first off, what brought you to the NRA convention?
Well, I'm an NRA member, and I'm the biggest defender of the Second Amendment. 3 of my family members were killed by guns, and I think maybe the result would have been different had they had a gun to defend themselves at that moment. I go shooting weekly, and even with my daughter, my 8-year-old daughter, so it's very important that everybody practices their Second Amendment.
Yes, I know this is it was my 3rd time going, and I know for me personally, going there the first time, it was just so much to take in. And so, how about for you, being your first time? How was the whole experience?
Well, I have a lot of friends in the industry, so I always wanted to go. I just haven't had the chance, but it was very overwhelming. I don't think there is enough time to visit all the booths and go to the listening sessions. I think it will take a week to go around and see everything, but it was good to run into friends and see new technologies and whatnot.
Yeah, I know, like, there's basically any sort of firearm gun you want to find was there. And that's how it's always been the past years I've been there. And it's just, like I said before, it's just a lot to really to take a look at. So now you were there for most of the day. So what were you able to experience outside of the exhibits, and also also had the president and vice president speak and other things?
Oh, that was so powerful, being there in the stadium full of people with Make America Great Again hats. And, you know, it's like, I wish all the media, the leftist media, were there to see how we are. Like, we're not what they want us to be. We're not racist. Everybody was so kind. Because I live in D.C., so I flew out of DCA with my Trump hat, and I was getting like horrible looks and cuss out. Then my connection was in Charlotte, and Charlotte was a little bit better. And then I get to Indiana, and everybody was so warm and kind. It was an amazing experience. And then going through every booth, and everybody was so nice, and everybody had a story of why they were Second Amendment. They believe in the Second Amendment. I was in the booth with Chris Barreto, and my friend bumped into this lady by accident, and we started talking, and we're actually inviting her to one of my friend's events in Chicago at the Trump Hotel on July 6th. But her son was an NRA member, voted for Trump, and he got back one night, and he had let a friend borrow his gun, and I don't think he knew that it was loaded, so he accidentally shot himself. But his mother is like a huge advocate, and she was telling us the story, showing videos of how, you know, like, even though her son died accidentally, she wants, you know, more people to learn about guns and have access to them, because, I mean, if you look at the statistics, they do save people. Just now that I used to live in Poway, where the shooting happened this weekend, and it was a border patrol agent of duty that stopped the shooting, you know. So all it takes is a good person with a gun to stop a massacre.
Yeah, and we also had people from the Border Patrol who were at the NRA meetings as well. And yeah, it was to have people like them at the Border Patrol, and also just law enforcement in general was a big presence there, and not only for security but also in support for the NRA and the Second Amendment.
Yeah, and the president, like, they love the president, and I think it's because the president is giving them, you know, the tools and the recognition and letting them do their job, something that the previous administration didn't do.
So while you was while you was able to go on the exhibit floor, were I'm guessing you found a lot of things, and maybe you were interested in wanting to try out or wanting to buy later on, or?
Well, yeah. So I already own a 6-hour M400. It's an AR-15, but they have this new sight, but it's amazing. So I have to save money for that. And then I want a SIG P365. Then I have a G43, but now I want the G43X. So, and I want a Tabor. So it's a lot of things that I want. I need space for that.
So I'm guessing you're pretty sure you're gonna want to go next year in Nashville.
Oh, of course, yeah. And I love Nashville, so sign me up.
So I also noticed that you were helping around with the Women for Trump booth, especially because we spoke with Amy. Yeah, we spoke with Amy about everything that's going on with Women for Trump. So in particular, how was it as far as working over there for them?
Well, Amy has done an amazing job. If you remember, in 2016, she had the bus tour that went around the country with Lara and Katrina and Women's for Trump, and that will speak town to town. So everything that she was selling is a donation that goes straight into the super PAC, and she's thinking about doing the same in 2020. So it's like and all of them are so nice. It's like a sisterhood. So it was really good to be there with them and sharing that time.
All right. Well, if people want to connect with you on social media, where would they go?
So on Twitter is at Republican Chick, and then Instagram is the Republican Chick.
All right. Well, thanks so much for your time. We look forward to talking to you again.
Hey guys, this is John Miller with Blaze TV. You are listening to Trend Chat with Brian Bledsoe.
Hello, this is Brian Bledsoe, host of Trend Chat. Also, contributor at politichicks.com. Here to tell you about the new book called Politichicks, A Clarion Call to Political Activism, with over 300 pages from contributors like myself, talking about topics such as education, social issues, healthcare, the Second Amendment, and of course, activism. I encourage you all to check it out at politichicks.com, and is also available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Yep, and so as I said, that's was essentially part one. So I guess I could have edited it together to make it seem like one giant, I guess one complete interview, but I'm like, well, no, I'm just going to have part one and a part two. Just do it that way. So like I said, we talked with her at that time before we knew about what was going to happen in DC later on. And so after they had their event, we caught up with her again to talk about what happened in DC, and also what's coming up next for her and Bienvenido. So here we go with part two.
So, after our conversation just a couple of days ago, we found out that you were going for a White House briefing with some other groups, with Bienvenido, which we were present at their launch, and we talked to people there in Houston, and we found out that they had an event up in DC, and we found out that you were going to be a part of it. And so, let us know, I guess, what happened? What went on up there at the White House?
Well, we started the day by going to Congress and the Senate. We met with Senator Ron Paul to talk about issues that affect the Hispanic community here in U.S. and border security. Then we went to the White House. They hosted us for a briefing. We heard from Jennifer Korn, Mercedes Schlatt, and then a person of the National Security Council and FEMA. After that, we went back and did a NRA briefing. And then after that, we all had dinner. The next day, we went to a Capitol tour. And after that, Bienvenido hosted an event for other Hispanic groups, press, and other conservatives at the Trump Hotel. That's pretty much what we did.
Okay, go ahead.
The crazy thing is that 800 people signed up for this event. Unfortunately, we had to turn down a lot of people because the White House could only host 150 people. So there's a lot of Hispanic conservatives in the country.
Well, that's really refreshing to hear, and to know that for a lot of Hispanics to know that they're not alone. Just as much as far as me being black and being a conservative. I mean, to have that knowledge that you're not the only one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So at the briefing, I mean.
Oh, we went to the RNC also. I forgot about the RNC briefing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so like in the briefing, whether it's for the RNC or at the White House, what was it? I guess the details as far as what were they discussing and
So for the RNC, it was how to win at the door kind of thing, like door knocking, how to get surrogates into media. So kind of like field director training type of thing. And talking points. And then at the White House, they brief us on the situation in Venezuela, the economy, and various things like that. But it wasn't question and answer. It was more like a briefing style at the White House.
Okay. And how long was the event for Bienvenido? It was just
2 days. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you said the dinner was over at, it was like a dinner
at the Trump Hotel in the Lincoln room.
Okay. All right. And so, well, I heard that you started a position with Bienvenido.
Yeah. So I met Anna. It was at an event not long ago, and then we hit it off because we both really like guns. We are both big supporters of the Second Amendment. She's the daughter of immigrants, and I came here. I'm first generation, so we have a lot of things in common. And I volunteer in a lot of military organizations. She's prior military, so we really hit it off. And she asked me if I wanted to do it, and I was like, well, I did Latinos with Trump before, so it cannot tie that. And so, of course, I accepted. So I'm going to be the spokesperson, comms director for them. We actually did a lot of media that day because we got Braveheart to cover it, One American News, Telemundo, and Univision. So it was great to be able to show that we exist.
Yeah, I saw all the pictures on social media and also saw some of the video clips on Blaze TV and everything.
Yeah, and
so,
the president retweeted it. So.
Yeah, so it seems like it was a great success going up there. So what's next for Bienvenido and for you as well?
Well, so we're looking at doing events in Miami. We really need to go get the boat there since a lot of people have moved into Florida from Puerto Rico, and the media is doing a disservice to the president. So we need to go there and do a lot of outreach. We're thinking Texas, Nevada, California. So I think that's what's next. I'll be actually speaking on July 6th in Chicago. That's next for me as of right now. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, before we wanted to get you back on before we actually posted the interview because we heard about this and we definitely want to talk about your time up there as far as what was going on with Bienvenido. So
it's a great organization, like Abraham, the president, has a really good story. His mother, Betty, she was very young when she got pregnant with him, and she had people telling her to abort him, and it really stuck to me because, it would be a huge void without him. This kid has accomplished so much, and Bienvenido wouldn't exist if it wasn't for him, so
yeah.
I'm glad his mother chose life.
Yeah, it definitely is a great case for as far as for accepting life, and I know I heard
crazy. It's crazy what's going on, like Virginia Democrats, and all the ones third trimester abortion, and then the government official Brian Sims yesterday in Philadelphia harassing people. It's insane what's going on, and we need to make a stand. And I think most conservatives are pro-life, so we need to go back to basics and to our faith.
Yeah, and just like what you mentioned as far as what happened up in Pennsylvania with the guy basically going out harassing
doxing people.
Harassing people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all this needs to be called out, especially like the Democrat down in Alabama and what he said as far as about killing now, killing later, and what he said. Like, all this needs to be called out and needs to be put out, for everyone to see. So, but yeah, so like I said, I appreciate you coming back on. I wanted to get this in as well before we posted the interview. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, what's up? This is Kai Jones, and you're listening to me on Trend Chat.
Yep, and thanks to Ximena for joining us twice in this episode. And kind of want to speak on the kind of the last thing we talked about. And you had what happened up in Philadelphia with this, I guess, the state representative. I don't know. It's when you use a word I used to hear all the time on the O'Reilly Factor, just jackanapes. Named Brian Sims, and going out there, as I mentioned in the interview, going out harassing, pro-life protesters who are out there, who are praying. Like, they weren't out there being violent or doing anything to, I guess you would say disruptive, or they were just praying, and this guy decided to want to go out there and just wanted to basically bully these people and try to get them, as the term, doxed, and try to basically get these private citizens, get their information out in the public, so they can have their lives ruined. So excuse me. So, and you had that, but then you also had what happened in Alabama, where you had another state congressman, I guess, named John Rogers, and where he had these absolutely insane comments about abortion, where he was saying that you could either kill them now or kill them later. Basically, either kill them now with abortion or kill them later, whether through the prison system or what, through the death penalty or whatever. And it's, for one, that is such a cynical, callous view of life. And if he really thinks of it that way, like this, it's only an either or proposition for, I guess, his constituents, really, when it comes to children, especially the ones that are considered unwanted. Because I know he mentioned that, but like, if they're unwanted, then then they're basically worthless. In his eyes, that's kind of how he sees it. And that's how a lot of them see it. A lot of these, pro-death Democrats want to, that's how they want everyone to see it that way when it comes to abortion. Because they, we're seeing more and more that they're becoming a lot more outspoken about their lust for blood, put it that way, because they could care less about giving any of these children any chance of living. Like, because the child is conceived in unfortunate situations or circumstances, just because of that, their life is instantly worthless and is instantly doomed from the start to the end. Like, there is no hope for them just because of how they were conceived or where they were conceived or what socioeconomic status that the parents are in at the time. And if they're not making X amount, then they're going to be a burden and they should just kill them. That's how Democrats see these children. That's how a lot of people who are voting for these Democrats are seeing, and that's how they see children. It's truly sad. And I know a lot of times whenever you hear some outlandish comments like this, whether it's about, whatever, and a lot of times you will hear about how in the world do so-and-so get elected? How is this person even considered a public servant, whatever, for whatever the constituency in whatever county or wherever state that they're in? And what I will say is that, that's up to the people in those areas. So if this, whether it's, Brian Sims up in Pennsylvania or I guess the Philadelphia area, or John Rogers in Alabama, if those people that live in those areas where those people were elected, that's a reflection on them. I mean, we can bring it up as much as we want to, like I'm bringing it up right now and everywhere else, but it comes down to their constituents. And if they're hearing this and are outraged about it, then they will go out and vote them out. Or they would not be as outraged about it. Or maybe they would not like what they said or what they have done, but not to the point to where they would get their butt up and go to the ballot box and vote against them. Or even more so, maybe go out and primary against them, or support someone else, to even another Democrat, just because they don't support how they're going about their business. If they don't do none of that and they continue to stay in, then that's how they get elected. And that's how they stay in power, because the people there either agree or don't care enough to do anything about it. And so that's what it is. And so, I mean, it seems to the point to where you already have, so Rogers in Alabama, I guess he's been emboldened by all of this, and now he wants to run against the Democrat, Doug Jones in Alabama for his Senate seat. So he want to primary him. So it almost feels like these horrendous comments he has said about children and about killing the unborn has boosted his ego to the point to where he says, well, you know what? I want to run for Senate now. You would think it would be the opposite, but apparently that's not the case. No, he feels like he wants to go up the ladder. So, but yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm glad I got a 45-minute time limit, because I think I was going to rant and I was probably going to be just rambling. So, again, appreciate everyone coming on, listening, and thanks again to Ximena for coming on again, and hopefully we'll have her on again soon. So, Google Play, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and all other podcast outlets. Check out Trend Chat, 5-star reviews, help us out. Like, share, subscribe, and until next time, we'll chat with you later.